We survived our first month of nursing school. Is that what you call it?
Yes.
We're alive. Here we are. And it's been a few weeks since we officially started school, and we are already feeling the weight of the schedules, workload, expectations. That's where we're at. So
I know sleep all of that. I'm down to 5 hours a night.
That is the average of a nursing student, between 4 to 5 hours a night, and if you get that. But I think for us, it's like getting through the first quiz and the first exam jitters. Like, we finished our first round of exams. So,
yeah, we survived that.
And I think being able to get through that, it kind of gives us an understanding of what to expect the rest of the semester, which has been
no words.
And that's hard from a person like me. But I think for me, I've been able to get extension for my exams, which was a big relief for me, because a lot of my anxiety stems from testing anxiety. But the school has been super accommodating, because I was able to get, go into a testing center, put on headphones, have a quiet place, and have extra time. So I think for me, it's allowed me to perform a little bit better on my exams, which is a good thing. What we've been doing, we've been praying for the 8s. That's what that's the theme.
Anything less than an 80, you're not passing.
Yeah, you're not passing. So anything
with an 8 in front of it,
doesn't matter.
With it.
Doesn't matter if it's 0,
let's keep going.
1, 2, as long as there's an 8 in front of it. So that's what we've been, that's what we're fighting for. So, and again, through our first week of just trying to figure out how these exams are going, we had to kind of change our strategy and how to study too. So Ariana's been like, she's been the boss at that, because I'm like, girl, what are we focusing on this week? And it's just,
I probably went through 10 different ways of approaching each class.
Yeah,
I really did. But we narrowed it down to 1, and it worked good.
It works.
Works so good.
And I think just having game plan, because I feel like once you have a game plan, that you feel a little bit more prepared, and you're able to kind of like, all right, this is the approach, and it's going to help. And we did Zoom, we did groups, we did, studied on our practice questions. We fill out charts. And I think even our notes have been different, because now this is me trying to annotate with everything from the book. So you're basically reading the book when you're reading my notes, and like, no, we can't do that. So I'm like, we have to get to the concepts. We have to get to the meat of the idea. So, I'm happy. That's what I'm saying. I'm just happy that we finally found a way to kind of tackle just the workload that we've had.
It took me like the first 3 or 4 weeks. I was stressed because I couldn't wrap my head around how to, go about studying for each class, because each class is talking about something different and requires you to memorize it in a certain way. But it was like the week before each of the tests, I finally figured it out. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to stick to it. And then that was the way that worked.
It worked. It's been working. So we want to impart to you, is like, if you find a way to kind of tackle your work and stuff like that. But that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about how we're going to be different types of learners. How can you use that to your advantage? What doesn't work for you? What kind of learner are you? Do you want to work in a group study? You want to do, it depends. Everybody learns differently. So in our second week of school, we started our clinical. So that one in itself was an eye opener,
Yeah, so the way that our program is laid out is that they teach us our skills in lab, and then we apply them in our clinical, plus other unexpected things that we get to see and learn in clinical. So far, because we start clinical so early, we do like very foundational type things.
Yeah, a lot of that.
Like at the level of a nursing assistant, we are learning those types of skills, but now we're getting into things that are more into the scope of a registered nurse.
Yeah, and that's very exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time, because now again, you're working under somebody else, you're on somebody's time. You got to be there, respect their time, but you're like, listen, whatever you need, let me know, because that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
And we're paying tuition for that too, but
Yeah.
I felt like once we started our clinical, like, how little prepared are we? You know, like how is it that we're in the second week and we're like we kind of got thrown in?
But I
So
feel like, it was spoken about a lot that you and we come in with an advantage compared to a lot of other
yeah,
students
yeah,
that are in the
yeah, yeah.
program. They haven't worked in a doctor's office, haven't volunteered in a hospital,
Never.
and they're not very familiar with medical terminology. So that has to be like a huge shock.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
scared shitless.
That's putting it
Yeah.
lightly. That's putting it lightly.
Walking in there. Like our first day of clinical, it was like we were gently introduced to it. Thankful for our professor.
I yeah,
Our preceptor.
our preceptor. So I think we're blessed in that aspect because we've been hearing a lot of stories from
From
others, just
other
not.
clinicals.
So it hasn't been the same you know, experience.
Mhm.
I think we had a conversation with one of our other colleagues that you have to speak up when it comes to your clinical experience because you're there to learn, you're there to observe, and if you feel like you're not getting that, you got to speak up.
Yeah.
And I think that's one
There's
thing
a
we
lot of money and time put into all of this. You can't let somebody who wants to do a half-assed job,
mm, mm,
jeopardize that.
mm,
But
facts.
we have a good experience right now. So can't speak for
I
next semester and
can't relate.
the other semesters to come, but
Yeah. But
yeah.
I think that's the understanding that we just want to make sure that if you are guys if in nursing school, medical school, you got to speak up in terms of your clinical experience because if you feel like you're not learning something or you feel like it's not fair, you got to speak up. You have to advocate for yourself. And that's the most
Mhm.
important thing because it's your education. You're going to be going out there, you're going to be the one doing the work, you're going to be the
Yeah.
responsible one. So if
Yeah.
you don't know what's going on,
And
I
that
mean,
also goes for studying for exams. You're
absolutely.
not trying to just make it by and pass your classes because
No.
then you're gonna have a very hard time passing your NCLEX. And then even if you do pass your NCLEX, are you going to be prepared skill wise
Mm,
to be a nurse?
mm.
Like you could be really great by book, but are you gonna be really great by
Can you
bedside?
apply it? Can you apply it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. I think that's the mixture in terms of like our experiences, our background versus these fresh students that have just come in fresh from high school and they really don't have the life experience, job experience in terms of the medical field. And I think with that alone puts us just a slight advantage. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm more than one to help and willing
Yeah.
to share my information, like my knowledge. I'm not gatekeeping shit because
No.
I would love to.
I want everybody to
Yeah, I
succeed.
do. I
Yeah.
genuinely do. Like I genuinely like. I would prefer somebody to say, "Hey, listen, how about let's go over something, or you don't understand something because I'm not gonna know everything because I don't know everything. I don't,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So I would prefer to do that because that's what the community of the healthcare is. You got to help one another. You have
Mm-hmm.
to, and um, but that's where we are. But here, guys, thank you. We're here. We're getting through it. It's been the first month. We're here to kind of guide you and say, hey, listen, we're on our journey. We're getting there. As long as 8s are in the front, we're okay.
Yeah, that's it.
But guys, welcome to the podcast. If B Scrubs can talk, I am your host, Stephanie.
I'm your host,
And
Ariana.
you already know what happens here. Can you even imagine the stories and the adventures each Scrubs can tell? Because these Scrubs have got a lot to say. So, what is our goal for this podcast? As you already know, we want to use this platform as an opportunity to talk about our experiences, challenges associated with going to nursing school. We're here to cheer you on. We're here to share our humbling experiences, give you peer reviews, research, funny anecdotes, and the most authentic selves. So, this is us being authentic, and this is us struggling.
Yes, behind this smile is a very tired person.
Very, very tired. Getting up at 4:30 in the morning, staying up, studying.
Better than me.
What do you mean?
I'm close to it, but you're better than me. You're waking up a little earlier than me.
Yeah, I do wake up earlier. I do have to take my kids to the school and stuff like that. But tell us how is your review of the first week? How has it been? Did you see that, folks? Did you see that?
For those listening, I gave her a look.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
stank
yeah.
look.
I know. I know.
I I always have to speak on my social interactions. I do.
Okay.
Because it's something that I struggled with when I was younger, and I was very, very, very introverted. And to be thrown into any type of social situation, super high anxiety for me. And then as I got older, I let all of that stuff go. But there's still times where it comes out. And if you think about it, you're entering nursing school with a whole bunch of other people. Our cohort is about 30 people.
30, right? Yeah, it's about
About, yeah. So you're spending the next 30, sorry, excuse me. You're spending the next 2 years with the same 30 people. And you're not gonna like everybody. And you're gonna love some people, and it's not gonna be the same for some other people. So that, like, the first week, I saw everybody that was gonna be around, and it gave me a little bit of anxiety because
Why?
I'm afraid of how I'm gonna come off to other
Ah,
people.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
afraid how, I might
You
not
might be
handle.
perceived by other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like, and I don't wanna, because we have an advantage here, I don't wanna come off like a know-it-all.
Yeah. Listen, we can't help it. We see something, we say something.
And I try to keep quiet. I
That's
really
so
do.
hard.
I try to keep quiet as much as possible because I don't want somebody to think I'm trying to jump for the answer.
Right, 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 right.
If the teacher's asking the whole class what an answer is, I say it very quietly. And sometimes the teacher hears me and she wants me
Yeah,
to say it, and I'm like, "Oh,
we mumble it
no,
and still like, oh, shit, you heard that?
no."
Like, shit, you heard that?
But yeah, that was my main anxiety, and that lasted for the first 2 weeks, and then afterwards, I was really over it because I was like, "Alright."
Tell me how you really feeling.
I completely was just like, "Alright, fuck this."
A fucking week. Oh,
I don't curse very often.
That's why I'm crying. Because you usually don't curse. That's why I'm crying. I'm the one with the sailor mouth. But when she does it, you like, oh, she cursed. Now you know shit is serious if she's cursing.
I try to watch my language a little bit, but no, I felt very passionately these first 2 weeks, and Steph and I had a few therapy sessions.
We did.
She had to be my therapist because I was like, "Steph, I don't wanna hurt these people feeling because I'm gonna be around them for the next 2 years," you know?
Yeah.
But I think I'm settled in now. I'm like, they do them, I'll do me, we'll keep separate,
Yeah.
and
And
then,
keep it pushing.
mm,
Let
that's it.
you know what it is too. I think it's the matter of like the anxiety. I think the anxiety with combination with the social setting, learning the curves of the teacher, learning to curve the studying, learning to curve these exams. The combination between all three can bring anybody anxiety. So just the fact of the matter that now that it took a month just to kind of take a grasp of
Yeah.
everything, like that, it's to be expected. I
Mhm.
feel like it's supposed to be
Mhm.
expected, but
Yeah, and it also, the month felt like
oh,
nothing. It felt so long, but
so
so quick at
long,
the same time.
so
I feel like
long.
we just
I
started.
felt like when the week started for clinical, like those were the longest
Oh,
weeks.
yes.
I think the second week was the hardest.
Yeah. No, because that's when I had my first migraine. I
The first week or the second week?
The second week, I
Yeah.
experienced, like, my first migraine because I was having too many energy drinks.
I told you not to touch that stuff. I told
I
you.
go to bed at 9:30, and
No,
the
no.
program's making me go to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning. I
No, I
gotta stay
told
up.
you not to mess with those drinks. And let me tell you, I don't give a fuck who you are. Don't be messing with them
There's that
Celsius.
language.
And there's that language. Don't be messing with them Celsius. It's not good for your heart. Don't mess with those Red Bulls. Don't do. I don't drink caffeine, and it's just I can't. It does nothing for me. I've never drank caffeine. I just don't mess with it. I don't. And for a person that has hypertension, which we'll talk about later, um, I'm on
Which is high
medication,
blood pressure.
high blood pressure, and HTN, which is the abbreviation for that.
Mhm.
So, other comorbidities can be affected by using caffeine. So if you're not sleeping well, if you're not eating well, if you're not exercising, all these different things can take into into part to that. So I just don't mess with it.
Yeah, I had a few, factors that led to up to that migraine. I was lack of sleep, very stressed, and, caffeine overload
Oh,
because
mm,
I had 1 Celsius.
What did you drink that thing when we were studying? What was that thing?
What do you mean?
There was like a big container you drank.
That's my coconut water.
No. You had we were studying and it was like this brown and white bottle. Oh, my grandmother had this and it was like we didn't want to drink the whole thing. You drank the whole fucking thing. It was that drink. Oh my God. You showed it to me. And you said you were laughing at me because I was dozing off. I was going like this. It's like 11:30 at night. I'm like, shit, I can't keep my eyes open.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. So I finished 3/4 of a cold brew.
Ah, that's what it was.
A cold brew, and it said it was 150 milligrams per 12 ounces. So I finished 3/4 of it, and I went right to bed after.
Oh my God.
So much caffeine doesn't work on me anymore.
Yeah. But this is the thing. This is what happens when we're trying to navigate this thing called nursing school. But we have survived. We've gotten some results back, and it shows that the results are telling us that we're going in the right direction. So what we want to talk about today is what type of learner are you? So we did a couple of things. We did a cool test, and we're going to be showing you on the links about that particular test. And we're going to be finding out like what type of learner are you. So I took the test, and it says that I am a kinesthetic ESTJ learner. So I guess to like break it down, a kinesthetic, if I'm saying that correctly, that I'm a person that I learn with my hands. So I'm a person that I'm a combination of auditory, I'm a combination of tactile, and I'm a combination of repeating and writing. So that's basically what I do for me to learn. I'm a very visual person. Like if you were to show me something 2 or 3 times, then I can pick it up. And I think that works to my advantage because as a dancer, you had to watch people and I had to pick up choreography. For me, I guess it made sense for me. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah. So if you are that type of learner, we're going to send you this link on our show link and we're going to do our LinkTree and we have all our socials up. We have everything up. So you're going to follow us. You're going to follow us.
Any helpful links will always be found in the LinkTree.
Absolutely. So anything in that, you're going to find it. So what type of learner are you? So you took the test. What type of learner?
Take the test.
What type of learner were you? It also said that I was a combination of an introvert and an extrovert, which is very, very true. I like my quiet, but I like the noise. But, it is what it is.
So I am a visual ISTJ learner.
Okay.
So yours was ESTJ, which meant extroverted, sensing, thinking, judging, and I'm introverted, sensing, thinking, judging. So we're opposites.
Yes, we're opposites.
For like a visual learner is when you see something and then you're able to kind of like just process it and you're able to repeat it. And that's always been how I am. I was also a dancer. And when I would go to dance class, they would show the move, do it, and then I would be able to just
to pick up the choreography. Yeah, absolutely.
I would be able to do it. I wouldn't have to do it with them. I would kind of just like watch and watch and watch, and then I'd be able to do that. So I notice myself doing that in class now, where we're watching the instructors in lab and they doing certain types of procedures, and I can watch, and then I'll be able to kind of like do recall and do it
and do like a teach back. And that's a very important thing too, like in terms of like recall and teach back. That's a thing I think that helps with a lot of learning in general, especially when it comes to doing tactile and soft skills and hard skills. Soft skills and hard skills meaning like being able to communicate is one, being able to do a skill, phlebotomy, or doing a stethoscope, use of different equipment. So between your soft skills and your hard skills is a combination, especially when you become in a nursing school. So yeah.
Yep. So just to dive a little deeper into the other sections. So an optimal learning situation for somebody who's a visual learner. The link suggested a few things that you understand how the material relates to real life situations. For me, that always works out. I can't operate off of a theoretical situation. Like it needs to be like something I've already.
I need the facts.
I'm a very factual, straightforward, brutally honest person. So I need something like hardcore, concrete in order to relate back to, in order for me to process it and keep moving forward. So that was spot on. And then positive affirmation. For me, it's not like a pat on the back, good job. It's not that type of positive affirmation. It's like a sign that you're on the right track. So for me, it's not like if I see like I'm kind of falling short on something, it kind of slows me down. But if I see like a progress bar or I see something where at least I'm leveling up,
Mm-hmm.
that works for me and that I'm able to like things like kind of like the connections are made a little quicker.
Right. So does it work for you like how my kids, I give you a star on the chart?
Yeah.
If you see that, that's
Yeah, because
motivational, right?
if the star is approaching the end, I'm like,
All right.
all right, at
We're,
least I'm
we're
like,
getting somewhere.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, that I think this link was very helpful. Steph did find it. And it'll be on our link tree for you guys to share, for you guys to try out. And then if you want to share your results, in the comments, that would be cool. I think that figuring out what your learning style is super important when
And
you're going to school, especially in nursing school.
especially in nursing school, because it will determine how you're able to retain that information, how you're able to recall it, and to see if you're able to teach it back. Because I think, if anything, in terms of any concept or any type of new material you're learning, if you don't know what type of learner you are, you're not going to be able to pick up things. It's going to be very difficult for you. So we kind of knew what type of learners we were, but this kind of confirmed, because at one point it said that she was judgy, and I said, on point.
So it did. So the ISTJ section, the J stands for judging, and mine was 100%.
Okay. When she give you the side eye, the bombastic side eye, you know she's
Steph knows, cause I'm someone of little words but lots of facial expression, and if I give her a look or side eye in class, she knows. She can know what it's about, how I'm feeling.
what's in reference to
Exactly.
body language. That's a thing. That's another thing you got to learn, like
Mhm.
being able to read the room. I think a lot of the new students that we have in our cohort, very very young, still not able to kind of read the cues. And I think in later episodes, when we're going to be talking about the nursing process, which is formerly the nursing process, now it's called the clinical judgment method. We're
Mhm.
going to be talking about recognizing cues. That's so important. I can't
Yeah.
stress that, how
Situational awareness, the whole
yes,
thing.
the whole thing.
Mhm.
So that's so important, that to be able to read the room and read people, not read people, but to kind of understand, like, read the energy in the room. If
Mhm.
it ain't right, something's up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you got to be able to pick
Yeah.
up on that. So I
Mhm.
think that's super important to, you know,
Mhm.
you got to learn that too. It's not that comes with practice. Like, I'm an old fogey, but you know what I'm saying. That comes with practice. You know what I mean? But we're gonna definitely give you some more information
Yeah.
about that link, and you guys can send us your info and tell us about
Mhm.
what kind of learner you are, and take it from
Yeah.
there.
Well, we have a little overview though
Oh yes, 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 we do.
in case you want to just, think about what type of learner you are. Um we are going to post this also so you could take a look. But
Absolutely.
there's four types. There's the auditory learner, the kinesthetic learner like Steph, the visual learner like myself, and then lastly reading and writing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think writing is also a component of kinesthetic.
I think so too.
But the reading and writing portion is more like full on comprehension. Like there's types of learners that can just read from reading the textbook
And
and
just
they
like, and
absorb
just
all of
absorb
that.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
For
not one
me,
of
that's
them.
too much.
Yeah, I
Too
can't do
much
that
information. Give me pictures.
all day.
Not cartoons. I'm not a cartoon person, but like
Yeah,
real
yeah, yeah,
pictures.
yeah.
I'm good with.
Yeah, give me photos all day. So give me photos all day.
So, an auditory learner, they prefer listening to information rather than reading or seeing a display. Um, so, often reading out loud and repeating information helps greatly. So, an example of how you can practice being an auditory learner is you can write out your notes, read them out loud, and record yourself. So, while you're driving to school, you play it in the car and you listen to your notes
Mm-hmm.
before a test.
Absolutely. And I
Mhm.
think that helps when the professors record themselves. Like, she's always telling me, like, Steph, you got to listen to the recording on your way to the
Mhm.
job. Not me. I ain't listen to nothing. I'm listening to my 80s. I'm listening to music. because I need to focus.
Yeah.
I'm already going to hear your mouth when I'm there. I'm not hearing it on the way when I'm there. Sorry. It's the truth. It's the truth.
No, for me, I lately, like last week, in preparation for our health assessment exam, I was playing YouTube videos in the car and letting them play while I drove. I
Okay.
wasn't watching because I practiced safe driving, but
You better let everybody know. Yes,
I practice
we
safe
practice
driving
safe driving,
as you
seatbelt and
should.
everything. As
Eyes
you
on the
should.
road.
Eyes on the road.
10 and
Focus. 10 and 2. 10 and
10
2.
and 2. Okay, so the next type of learner is yours.
Okay, so let's read what this says. So, kinesthetic involves hands-on learning, emphasizing the see one, do one method. Being physically engaged, encouraging information retention. Participation in activities are the most memorable. That's me all day, every day. Like, I love to learn hands-on because that to me, it helps me remember a lot of things in terms of retention and being able to recall. And I love to teach back. Like if it's something that I'm doing wrong, I would rather have somebody show me what I did wrong as opposed to explain it to me. Like I'm like, show me,
Yeah.
show me. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel like in terms of that. But I love being able to it's about I'm trying to see the combination of that because I feel like it's a combination of, again, soft skills, hard skills, and being tactile. And I think everybody learns so differently, but that's how I learn. And I think that that's very helpful for me in terms of nursing because if I can see a nurse and I follow her and I'm looking at her, I'm like, oh, what's she doing? What's she doing? What's she doing that? And that's why I think I learned so much in clinical because I have a great nurse, like whoever I've been following for the last 2 weeks, super cool. She let me do like certain things, bed baths, and she let me like crush up medication when she's not supposed to. Anyway, just shouting out. And she was letting me do like work on the wow. What the wow is like a work on wheels. It's like a working computer. So when you're in the field, excuse me, when you're in the clinical setting, you have these mobile computers and it's supposed to, give information, medication, and all that stuff. So they have these mobile computers and she was like, yeah, just take it over there and this. I was like, go look up a patient. I'm like, what? I was like, okay. Like,
That's not always the case.
that's not
Yeah.
Let me say
on
it's
a real
because
moment here, that's not always the
that's
case.
not the case. But because I worked for her for the last 2 weeks, she felt like she can tell me what to do and kind of direct me. And she kind of like, okay, let's do this, and this. I'm like, okay, tell me where to go, and I'm eager to learn. So that's what I think it's to my advantage because of the situation we're in.
Yeah.
So
No, I had a really great nurse this
yeah,
week. Where she was explaining everything that she was doing and applying the concepts that we were also learning in class without me telling her. She was telling me about, different steps within the nursing process. She was touching upon them, and my mind was blown. I
she
was
was
just like,
dropping them nuggets.
and her doing that relates back to the type of learner I am, that she was using real life situations that in the moment
connect the dots.
in order to connect the dots.
Absolutely.
And it's still like in my head fresh. And
You'll remember it like a month from now.
Yeah.
Because it just made sense.
Yeah. It also blew my mind. But
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God, this is so great. I want you to every single week.
She's like fangirling.
Yeah.
She was fangirling.
Yeah, for real. Okay, so our third is my type of learner, a visual learner. So you see pictures, charts, and diagrams, and the learner can watch the diagram illustrated or create one of their own. This is me to a T.
To the T.
This type of learning can also prevent mistakes because of its representation of processes.
Ooh, explain that.
So, when you're writing a flow chart, you're writing a diagram, you are writing each step and you're writing the arrows and you're writing illustration of the flow of things. So, when you're doing that, it's very hard for you to then mess up the order of operations because it's a visual thing. Now you have that photograph memorized in your mind of what you made. You know?
That makes sense.
Mhm.
See, and that's something not everybody could do that. Not everybody could do that.
Mhm.
So I think that again, being able to kind of differentiate between what you can learn and how you learn is so important. And how you're going to perform in school in any school setting, nursing school, medical school, whatever the case may be. But I want to talk about the last one. So reading and writing. Textbooks writing out information to this learner is preferred method, right? So condensing and rephrasing texts such as retyping or rewriting notes that improves retention. I think we have a combination of
I
that.
think I have a few types of learning styles. From what we've read, I think I'm a combination of a visual and a reading and writing.
And that's not unusual either. Like you can be all four, you can have three, you can have two, you just have one. But it's the way that it's presented and how you use that for you, that to be that type of learner. I think it gives us a lot of experience in telling us and figuring out how we how we gonna function in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah. So, I also wanted to mention how we studied for our last exam that we did really well because I think it's a very helpful method for anybody who's studying health assessment. Because health assessment and pharmacology and nursing foundations, they all have to be approached differently.
They do.
For pharmacology, we studied separately.
We did.
Um,
Yeah, we did.
but that's all memorization. You can do that by flashcards, you could do that by a document and make a table. We weren't learning medications yet, so we didn't need to categorize information
Not
yet.
yet.
But it was just like basics, either know or you don't.
Don't. Yeah.
But for health assessment, the way we went about it is I was staring at my notes and I was like, "How am I going to organize you so
Oh
that
my
you make
God.
sense to me?"
It was so hard
No,
trying to.
I literally like I had an epiphany.
Yeah.
So I decided I was gonna make a table, a document, and put a table in there and have two columns. And the first column is like a term, a concept, a title of some sort, and then the other column was any pertinent information that related to that term. And it just made everything
It
like
made sense.
it just made it look like exactly like it just made
It
sense.
just made sense.
And then as you got to abnormal findings, as you got to how to do an assessment of the head, of the neck, of the skin, of the hair, of the nails, it was all categorized in a certain way where it was almost like you had instructions. And that's why it made more sense and that's why we did really well.
Yeah. And I think when we did the second graph all together, when I made that chart, it just made sense because we went through it and was like,
Mhm.
okay, what does it apply to this? And because I just bit off of her idea and I was like, all right, this is what we're
Yeah.
gonna do. I was like, all right, cool,
Yeah.
let's do this.
Yeah, so for the document you made, it was strictly assessment. What are
Strictly.
you looking for?
Strictly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Are you looking for, the head shape? Is there proper hair distribution? So when you go through each of the body systems for whatever unit that you're on, you write, okay, is there any abnormality in the hair?
Right.
Is the hair sparse? Is the hair full? And then you move down and you are asking yourself questions of what abnormalities are present.
Right.
And that makes so much more
It did.
sense.
It did. And the way that we did it, like when we started to do, literally, you start head to toe. Start from the head, work your way down.
Mhm.
And how we did it is it macrocephalic? Is there is this the size of the head small? Is
Mhm.
there anything that's related? And then it can even become more complex. You can add another column and say what diseases can be related to this
Mhm.
particular abnormality. And it just worked out. It just, I'm like, it fucking makes
Yeah.
sense. I was like, why did we didn't think of this before?
Yeah,
But I think that now that we found what
we
worked,
found our niche.
we
Yeah.
found it of like,
Mhm.
this is gonna be the key for us to
Yeah.
keeping up and staying on top of our, reading our textbook and making the dots, connecting the dots. That's how
Yeah.
it's gonna do that. So
And anybody who tells you that you should not read the textbook, you should read the textbook.
should read the fucking textbook.
The only for our situation, our program, the the pharmacology textbook is more so like a reference, but it's not heavily depended on. But our foundations and our assessment, that's where you're gonna
All
find
day.
everything.
All day.
That's where the NCLEX is gonna come from. So why wouldn't you want to read it?
All day. Them books are fucking expensive. So
Yeah.
am I not gonna read it?
Like, what was it? Health assessment? $300. What?
What?
Why wouldn't I read
Why would I
it?
not read it?
I'll read it for my releaser at that point.
I'm reading that bitch on every letter, syllable, everything.
I'll kick my feet up and
Fuck
read it on a Saturday
that.
night.
What? When we finish
Yeah.
graduating nursing school, I'm just gonna fucking sit down and just read that book from cover to
Yeah.
cover.
Look at all them abnormal findings.
Right? And that's the thing. I feel like when people tell you like, oh yeah, you don't have to read the book, bitch. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You know, and I think the mistake that I did was because I'm trying to read the book and then type out my notes to have it like the book. I can't do that because it's too time consuming.
You have to paraphrase.
You have to
be very careful how you paraphrase it. Yeah. Yep.
And you don't want to make the mistake I did because I was just taking too long because I thought everything was important. And that's like with the same person that's trying to highlight everything in the book. You can't fucking highlight everything in the book. No, and that's what I was doing.
Everything will be yellow.
Everything is yellow.
And how are you gonna know?
How are you gonna know? Can't differentiate. So then when Ariana presented this box and I was like, this fucking I was like, oh! I was like, why didn't I think of this sooner?
No, but then also like you can do the outline of your textbook. You can do that, but
I just have to. But I have to read it again, and I just have to just be smarter about it and not fucking copy from the textbook into my notes. I just gotta just do it where the whatever the most important concepts are and relate it to and connect. What I've been trying to do, like I think what I've been trying to do for every class is connect each class, and I feel like by me trying to do that, kind of helps me understand the material a little bit better. So if there's a condition that they're talking about in health assessment or we're doing eyes or we need to learn about things like that, I want to know about in pharmacology. What about in pharmacology is going to affect that particular
everything comes together.
Everything comes together. You just got to find a way to connect it. And that's the hard part. Yeah. Because that's when your critical thinking comes in, when, especially when you come into nursing school. I mean, just in general. But that's where the part is that they can't always teach you that. And critical thinking, it's
and intuition.
Hard.
Intuition comes with experience.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So don't beat yourself up. Once you start, we're speaking obviously not from experience of as graduated nurses.
No.
But when you can just put yourself in that position, you visualize it in the future that like don't beat yourself up. Like you're brand new, you're a novice nurse. Of course you're not act like somebody who's been there for 10 years.
You're not. And you have to take it with a grain of salt. And you know what it is? If you have, this is my thing. I wanted to emphasize this. Like if I'm in the clinical setting and your nurse is not really helpful, you have to kind of remind them like, well, you were just in my position not too long ago.
Yeah. And it takes a lot.
It takes a lot.
To like go up and say that.
You know, I've said it. I've said it.
It would take a lot for me to say
I've said it. And the only reason why I said it was because I felt like I was being treated unfairly. And my professor, and like I'm glad my professor came and defend me too, because it would have been different like if the professor didn't come and defend me either. But she came to defend me, so I knew I wasn't going crazy. I kind of made it seem like, you know, you don't have to really treat me that way because you were in my position not too long ago, you know what I mean? And I feel like if you feel like I'm bothering you, please tell me that. I don't want to do that. So I was a little nervous, like saying it, but then I was like, once I said it, I was kind of relieved because the professor was like, Steph, if you're not comfortable working with her, well, I'll put you with somebody else. And then that happened like the 4th week. And then when I was changed to another nurse, my experience completely changed. And it only got better from there because I spoke up. And I feel like you have to do that sometimes. Again, advocate for yourself because you're still learning. I'm not going to know everything. I'm still not going to know everything once I graduate. So, you know, be nice. You lead with kindness. And I think we all have to give ourselves grace. Like you mentioned before, we have to. You have to give yourself grace and you have to give others grace. So you can't be like that.
Yeah.
Out in the field. Oh, yeah.
But I have one more other suggestion I wanted to share.
Oh.
So it was a suggestion I shared with you, I think yesterday, with the binder.
Oh, yes.
Such a great idea. I was proud of myself.
I'm so jealous that I didn't think of it first.
No, because you know what? I derived it off of you and what you do. So Steph is very anal.
You lucky I ain't spit my water out, damn it.
She's very
That's the first time somebody said that shit to me.
She's a little anal. Where she has to put her notes in plastic sleeves.
I feel so judged right now.
Well, it's 100% in me, so.
Because the fucking test said you're so judgy. Oh my God.
But anyways.
Anyways.
So I derived the idea off of her because I always see her with it's not even attached to a binder. She just carries the plastic sleeves around and uses them as like pockets for her papers.
I do. Yeah.
So I was staring at it and I was thinking, I went home and I had plastic sleeves too. And I was like, let me see what this is all about, you know? So I went and I got my binder together. I put the plastic sleeves, and this is while we were studying for health assessment. So this was like a few days ago. Um, and I'm starting to write out the process. So I wrote out the steps of doing the assessment of the head.
Okay.
And then I put it in the sleeve and I put it in the binder, and I was looking at it and I was like, what if I made this a blank diagram and I used dry erase markers on the plastic sleeve so that I could erase it and keep practicing? I said,
mic drop. Mic drop.
and then I went up to Steph the next day. It literally looked like her mind went kaboom.
I was like, it's so fucking simple. Why would I not think of that? And I'm like, wait, do I need the hard stock? Like, do I need the plastic to be hard? And she's like, no. And I was like,
no, you just buy cardstock. You buy it in a big pack like you do regular copy paper, and that's it.
Kept it pushing.
Yeah. And I was like, wow. But you know what? The thing is, like, you keep those because you need to study for your final. You need to study for the midterms. You need to study for the NCLEX and pharmacology, health assessment.
All that.
You need to pull that into med surge and all the other classes that
because
you're
it's cumulative. And the professors kept saying from the beginning of the semester, by the time you're at your last semester, all this information
all
is
of
cumulative.
Leads into it.
So you got to remember that shit that you talked about in semester 1 and in semester 5 and whatever. You know, you got to remember it.
Yeah.
You know, so I think leaving that with that, I was like, what am I waiting on? I was like, I should have done this shit from the beginning.
So now I got to get to work this weekend and make those diagrams.
That's what I'm working on.
Yeah.
I'm going to rewrite my notes. I'm going to look over the, because this is our first week without a test. So we have a little bit of breathing room, but I think now we have the time to play catch up on the chapters we didn't read because we were studying. So, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, but just in that, like, I feel, again, we got our grades back. We saw the progress. We're seeing the stars. the
stars are aligning.
They're aligning, and the little stickers are going on that board. The progress bar is going up. So that's a good thing, and if it keeps us motivated, you know what I mean. So if you guys are struggling with the way you're studying, why don't you try to find out what type of learner you are? Because if that can help you in a way that you didn't even know. It's like shit.
Also, you can ask us too. You can DM us. You can comment. We're very responsive.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Because we're curious and we're nosy.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. No.
No, because we also want to know if what works for you, if that's not something that we said that worked for us.
True.
You know?
True.
Because we're always willing to try out new things. Just because this worked this time, it doesn't mean that it's going to work entirely for the next
semester.
Next semester, next test.
Next test, whatever. Yeah.
So
it's true. Yeah. It's very true. And I think, again, with anything you learn, everything's on a curve. You just like a nursing process, now the clinical judgment, everything you have to reflect, you got to reevaluate, you got to do everything. It's ongoing. You got to keep checking. I was like, this shit ain't worked the last time. I was like, I got to go back and do it again.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's a learning process. And I think that the opportunity that presents itself here, and I'm like, yo, if you have people that are like willing to like share ideas and exchange ideas and do things with you, I think it just even makes it even better, you know, because we're all here to try to learn together. Yeah. You know what I mean? But
community.
It's I guess. Absolutely. It's healthcare.
Yeah.
You're not going to like everybody, but you know what? I'm going to damn well respect you.
Yeah.
I'm going to respect your hustle.
Your work ethic.
You know, and that's another thing we have to worry about, you know, morality and professionalism. It plays a big part.
Oh, yeah.
In healthcare. So
no patient's going to want you to take care of them if you're not professional.
Fuck that.
If your scrubs are rumpled up, your shoes are dirty, your hair's messy. Other than if your hair's in a bun, that's not really too messy. But if you look like you rolled out of bed and you come to take care of me or change my IV or anything like that, you can walk yourself out. I don't want you touching me.
Because you woke up in shambles.
Yeah. What makes I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm not gonna think that
because you mad judgy. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
What are you even talking
What are you
about? Bombastic side eye.
Mic drop.
No, honestly, at the end of the day, like,
No,
you just
of
want to
course.
be professional.
Yeah, that's it.
You want to make your best impression because somebody's in the most vulnerable position in their life in that moment and being in the hospital by themselves. Even if the family's visiting, at the end of the day, the family has to leave
They
and
have
they're
to
by
leave.
themselves.
Yeah. And
so you're the advocate.
You are.
You have to gain their trust.
You have to be you're one that's, having rapport with them. You're the ones that taking care of them. You see them in the most vulnerable space, and it's hard. It's hard. And if you're not presenting yourself in a way, because first impressions are, they lie to you if they don't think first impressions are important. The way you walk into a room, the way you present yourself, the way that you speak to somebody, the way you carry yourself, it carries out through your whole career, and especially when it comes to nursing school. Don't come off like a smart ass.
Yeah.
Because you don't know shit. Because I don't know shit. Lead with kindness. And give everybody grace. Give yourself grace and give everybody else grace. Because, at the end of the day, we're all here to learn. But, I don't like those people that be acting like they know everything.
We gotta name no names.
Because we're not about that life.
We're better than that. Turns the camera off. Yeah, you heard about so-and-so.
But guys, thank you so much for spending your time with us today. Oh, not today. Spending time. My apologies. I am gay because I'm happy because we're passing these exams.
We're elated.
We're elated. There was 8s in front of everything.
Yes.
So that's what it is. So, but no, thank you guys for spending the time with us, getting to know with us. Getting to listen to our stories. We're telling you how we're struggling, how we're not struggling, how we're going to struggle. All these things happen, in our journey in nursing school. And again, our goal with this podcast is to kind of educate, encourage, and make you laugh, because that's what we're gonna do. Because you can't always be upset or sad.
Yeah.
Regardless, whatever the situation may be.
You gotta put your poker face.
Yeah, you have to. And again, if you enjoyed this episode, we want you to let us know where. Spotify. We're on iHeart. We're on Amazon. And we are working on CastBox. So we're still working on our socials because our first episode just dropped this week. So we want to make sure that you guys have the opportunity to check that out. Follow us. We're on Instagram. Where else we're on? TikTok. Where else we're on? We're on YouTube. Jesus, we're everywhere, which is great.
We're on all major platforms.
So again, if you want to email us, it's ifthescrubscouldtalk@gmail.com. And send us your info. If you want to talk about what kind of learner you are, let us know on the socials.
Or if you have any recommended topics.
Yes, absolutely.
If you're also in nursing school and you think it would be important to talk about, we appreciate that.
Absolutely, because we're here to learn. I'm definitely here to learn. So I want to know, what are we going to talk about in the next episode?
So the next episode, we're going to be clinically speaking.
That's it.
I'm excited.
I
am excited because we're going to be talking about the meat, the foundations of nursing. So we'll be discussing the clinical judgment model, which is basically like being a nurse in a nutshell. You're constantly, participating in this model with everything that you do. So it'll be cool to talk about. We had to master it for our test, and we did, so we can talk about it.
We can talk about it now.
Knowledgeably.
Knowledge-wise.
Yes,
that's what we meant.
Whatever I'm trying to say. It's been a long week. Gotta go to bed.
We need some sleep. We get to sleep this weekend. We get to sleep in 1 or 2 hours more. So we get to do that. But guys, I am your host, Stephanie.
I'm your host, Ariana.
And you already know what happens here on the podcast. Can you imagine the stories and the adventures each Scrubs can tell? Why? Because these Scrubs have got a lot to say. Thank you so much for joining with us. Find us on the socials. Listen to us. We're on all the listening platforms. Please find us. Please.
Share. Repost. Like. Whatever you want to
do. And we will see you on the next one. Take care, guys.
Bye.
This podcast is a T44 Media Group production. Thank you to our producer and editor, Andre, who makes us sound great and makes all this possible.